But let's talk about this now with Harriet Minter, who's presenter of Badass Women's Hour here on Talk Radio, Saturday 7 till 10. And Harriet, I have been informed that you take a rather different view of this than I do. You're one of the many people who are outraged by rich old men spending money to have some time with some beautiful young women. I'm shocked. I don't know.
Well, I think when we're talking about rich old men spending money to have time with beautiful young women, what we're talking about is essentially prostitution.
Oh, you're calling those 130 women prostitutes? They didn't have sex with these men?
It is, but it's along the same lines. It's using young women to lure and titillate men, which is a bizarre thing to be doing.
What did those young women think when they were all in the room beforehand and they were all having their hair and makeup done and given these rather skimpy little black outfits, although everyone's being outraged by the outfits? You go out in London's West End, you go out in Manchester, you go out in Newcastle, you go out to Glasgow, any night of the week you will see women wearing far less of their own volition. They were told to wear high heels, wear a particular kind of black pants. I mean, they've actually told what knickers to wear, for goodness sake. No one tells me what knickers to wear when I'm presenting a radio show. I'll tell them where to shove it. But what did they think they were there to do?
I imagine they looked at those dresses, which, as you quite rightly say, young girls go out in all the time, and thought, okay, well, they just want me to dress up and look attractive. Because if you've ever been a waitress, you know part of being a waitress is if the people you're serving like you, they give you bigger tips. Yeah. Now, we think that is smiling, maybe laughing at a bad joke, telling them they've made a great choice on the starter. Yep. It's not being gross.
They weren't waitresses, though, were they? There were waitresses. They were there to sort of pour drinks, to sit at the table. They were there to show them at the table with the men.
They were not there to sit at the tables with the men. They were there to bring drinks, smile sweetly, make sure everyone was having a good time, check that nobody had any problems. That's what they were there for. But actually saying that then makes it okay for you to be groped, for somebody to expose themselves to you.
No. No one is saying that they have a right to be groped. But you also know that the men were told, and they're quite clear in the brochure, no sexual harassment of the women. Also that the women were told, even the Financial Times reporter was very clear about this, the women were told, the men, when they were booked with it, the men can get pretty annoying. They're fat and ugly, some of them. But, just tell them they're naughty boys. I think there's some clear giveaways of what you can expect. The women turned up to the gig. At the gig, they were told by the woman organising them, look, if anyone gets too, handsy, come and report them to me. There are plenty of safeguards. You can either go and report it, you can not do the job, you can walk out of the job, you can call the police if someone's exposed themselves. As far as we're aware, none of the women did that. So one can only assume, other than the Financial Times reporter, everyone was happy.
They were put in a culture which says if you do this, you're breaking your NDA, and we could possibly sue you. These are young women.
NDA, you mean the women were asked to sign a confidentiality agreement?
They were asked to sign essentially an NDA, and they're signing a contract.
Can we talk in English? A non-disclosure agreement. So they're not supposed to go and sell their story to the Sun about who was there.
Yeah, which tells really that those people assume there's going to be something to sell. Right, and that in itself just seems so outdated. Why are you even organising these events?
Let me bring Vanessa Lloyd-Placid, because she's a divorce.
I'm sorry, Harriet. I just think that we're getting a bit too skewered on this. They asked for these confidentiality agreements to be signed because it's the culture, unfortunately, that some young women have been going to the press over many, many years and selling the slightest story if they speak to a wealthy man and extorting money. And I'm sorry,
these wealthy men over the years have been harassing young women.
Well,
I think putting all the blame on the young women seems really
No. You are misunderstanding the point. And what I'm saying is you are taking this to its extreme degree, and it is a nonsense. These women knew what they were signing up for in the same way as women who climb all... Hang on a minute. No, let me speak. Who climb all over cars at car shows to titillate men into buying the cars. They know what they're doing, right? So when we have women that are behaving in that way, I'm not suggesting for 1 second that they deserve to be groped, but you have to put this into perspective of what this was actually about and not get all Victorian and ridiculous to the point of no return.
Okay, Harriet, what do you say to that?
Ridiculous. I'm saying that actually that makes no sense, Vanessa. If what you're saying is it's okay for you to dress up and sit on a car in your underwear, then that's fine. But you still shouldn't expect men to grope you. Well, that's all I'm saying.
She literally just said the opposite of that,
all
Harriet.
I'm saying. No, she didn't. She said that if you're a young woman, you should expect that if you're in your underwear, you are going to be groped. But then you shouldn't. That isn't okay.
I think as a general rule, if you're told what knickers to wear to a work event, you're probably going to be expected to show your knickers.
I just don't think that's true. Particularly if you look at actually the dresses they were wearing, which were see-through, and as you say,
they were a bit see-through on the side. Oh, Harriet, do you ever go out on a Saturday night? Goodness me,
yeah,
absolutely,
and I see those dresses all the time. So if I was a young woman, I was presented with that dress, I would think that was just the fashion. I wouldn't think I am now going to be groped by an old man who shouldn't have his hands.
Okay, here's the thing. Do you think they were right that this event never goes on again? David Walliams, the guy who was hosting the event, is just not only a brilliant comedian and brilliant children's author, but he's runs an absolute fortune for hosting these sort of events. He's basically had to sort of fall on his sword, go on his knees, beg forgiveness, saying, "Oh, I didn't see anything. I didn't know anything about this." We've got a government minister. We've got another guy who's an advisor to the education department. He's had to go. I mean, we are into witch hunt territory once again about guys going on a men's night out.
Do you know what would be really great would actually be if all those men had said, "Do you know what? I kind of knew what it was going to be like," because they did. They all knew.
And so did the women. And so did the women. There were women who worked there who'd worked there the year before.
Yeah, okay, so maybe they did, but the rest of the young women, they think they have when you're young, you do think you have a level of power, you think that you'll be able to control a situation, that in fact you can't, because you are the person without the power in that situation.
But all we've got from an expose from the Financial Times, all we've got is one woman saying that a man exposed himself to her, and an FT reporter who doesn't do this work normally saying she felt uncomfortable, and she spoke to a couple of other women who felt uncomfortable. There were 130 women there. We have as far as we're aware, no complaints to the police. No knowledge about whether or not this. And I have to say, all the video footage in the article, there's no evidence of any of this stuff happening. I have to say, I'd love to hear from you. Do tweet me at Talk Radio. Get in touch. Give me a call, 03444991000. Do you think this is all a big storm in the teacup? Are we getting to a puritanical age where no events can happen? And by the way, this whole men-only events, I mean, I'm assuming none of these people have ever gone to a stag do or a hen do. Goodness me, I've gone plenty of women's nights out. Does that mean we can't do that either? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you have to say. We got the poll online at Talk Radio. Am I right in thinking this is a storm in a teacup?